cuál es la gran diferencia entre tu verdadero tú y tu trabajo.
Por cierto, me llamo Gary Johnson y soy un asesino a sueldo falso.
We were both doing like dry January at the time, and yeah, we were right into it, and I was like, I just feel like we're just having like water at a we're like not eating, we're just grabbing water at like 4 o'clock. Maybe just like one tequila, then one tequila turned into like 8 tequilas, and we had like a 4-hour great sesh where we just went over life. I mean, I'm not even sure how much we talked about the script. It was just more about life at that point.
Yeah.
And then
we spoke a little bit about the script and the ideas that I kind of had for Madison at the beginning. And then once we started drinking tequila, it was like, who are you, Glenn?
Yeah, we got into it. But that's the other thing is like you realize when you make a movie with somebody, like you're like teammates on this thing, and especially with the way Rick works, which is like we are all crafting this story together and crafting these roles together and crafting the script together. So like we're not just executing a story, we are building the story together. So I knew she was going to be an integral part of this story, and it's been so fun to watch how Adria's brain is like all over this movie, and like the small choices that she made that she was really resolute on and really committed to turned out to be choices that if we didn't have her brain and instincts on it, it wouldn't be what it is.
Me di cuenta de que no todos fantaseaban con el mismo asesino a sueldo.
The basis of it was, we could spend 4 hours together and not shut up. And that was like the first clue of, this is someone that I feel incredibly comfortable with. And once you feel comfortable with someone, there's a layer of trust and respect that you just kind of, you free yourself and you open yourself up to allow that kind of chemistry to live. But I think the basis of it is just respect and trust. And we spent so much time together just rehearsing and talking about it. And we both had one common goal, which was to make the best version of this movie we possibly could. When we first started talking about, do you remember that? About the sex scenes? When we first started talking.
Yeah. It's an awkward conversation. And Rick and Glenn are, two Southern boys, are so respectful and only wanted everything to be so comfortable for me, and were so polite about everything that it got to the point that I was like, guys, it's sex. Let's just talk about it normal. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, it's delicate.
I was like, no, this is what we have to do in order for this movie to work, is that I feel so comfortable just talking about it and building it, because we were in the writing process.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have to write this, so we better be able to talk about it.
And the one thing you did though was, remember we got the pictures?
Oh yeah.
We started putting together like different images that we found to be like sexy or representative of like what is something we haven't seen on screen before, what actually is authentically sexy. So we had like a bunch of these images. Yeah. Do you remember we were referring to it and be like this and like this would and
or how does that moment get created? Like,
yeah.
How can we make a scene that kind of gets to that specific moment or whatever that was?
Yeah.
And it made it really just creative and collaborative. And also, for me, it was such a wonderful experience because I had ownership of the kind of sex scene that I was going to put myself through. I think sometimes you're just thrown into it and someone just writes something for you and you kind of have to go and do it. Here, I had very much a say of what kind of things I was doing, what I wanted to do, and I was the one making the decisions.
It's so true.
In that scenario. And I think you and Rick both took a step back and were like, well, that's your call on all of it. And it was really, I've never had that power.
Cada operación encubierta es una actuación. Esto es serio. Estoy en el negocio de servicios. Y con cada arresto recibía una ovación de pie.
Muy bien, niño. niño del bien.
What are the things that I loved about your performance? Well, it was funny because I only saw Ron, so when I first watched the movie, you really didn't let me see any of the other characters. You actually you would hide some of the prosthetics every time I walked in the room. You would lock up. I didn't know. I maybe might have seen some tattoos laying around, but I didn't really know to what character it kind of belonged to or anything. So when watching the movie, I also never saw you rehearse any of the characters. I don't know when you did that. I was just really impressed with what a chameleon of an actor you are and how you were able to transform so many different times and bring so many different energies to just one movie.
Well, I will say that, you know, one of the biggest things in terms of casting this role that Rick and I knew was going to be a challenge was Madison is a character that can fall into trope territory. And I think one of the most impressive things when I rewatch this movie is that it is the hardest tightrope to do is to navigate all the landmines where the audience could lose faith in you. And so if we did not cast you, I don't think this movie would work at all. And Rick and I knew that, by the way, going in. And we were like, this is the crucial piece. We can write the hell out of this thing. And if this character is not a character that you root for their humanity through and through, and you are down with that decision through and through, it doesn't work. And I remember Rick and I high-fiving each other after you brought it in that diner scene. I tell you, it's small tweaks of the dial with this movie. And Rick and I got to the end of it and we're like, I can't believe we were so lucky to have done this movie. It's amazing.
Ya veremos.
Cine, música, series, libros, teatro, artes plásticas, gastronomía, todo el mundo de la cultura y el entretenimiento aquí en El Tiempo. Suscríbase al canal de YouTube del Tiempo, que además es gratis, y le mandamos notificaciones de nuevos videos.